Whew. I don't know why I always start crying these days. I totally forgot what I was gonna say now. After 5 amazing weeks here in Sweden, I kind of start to doubt if I ever should actually go back to Taiwan again, or if I should just stay here back home in Sweden. And this is obviously not because there's something wrong with Taiwan. I just realized during these 5 weeks back home in Sweden that Sweden has a lot of things that is very, very important to my life that Taiwan simply cannot offer. For example, one that you are watching right now is an amazing sunset at 9:30 p.m. in the middle of the night in Taipei times, where everything has been pitch black for hours. But here in Sweden, the sunsets are just so different and so magical. Not only do they last literally for hours, the sun is still super bright at 10 or even 10:30 p.m. Not a single sound now at 9:30 p.m. Nothing other than the cows which are taking a bath on the other side of the lake. My parents are about to go to sleep. I probably have a few hours of editing in front of me, and then some birds and insects up in the trees as well. And I have to admit, this was actually one of the greatest shocks I had when I came here to Sweden as well, that I forgot how quiet it could actually be out in the nature at night sometimes. And it's not only that we have like close to the forest that you can just like literally just walk 15 meters and you are in the middle of the forest, but just the fact that we have this huge lawn and you literally only need to take a few steps in order to get from the lawn and then actually right into our kitchen, which means that we are spending the entire day just running inside, outside, and we're literally barefoot 100% of the time we are here in Sweden. So amazing, and not something that I actually thought about and that I missed when I was living in Taiwan. But if you want to go outside, if you want to go out in a park, you never walk barefoot in Taipei, even if you are in the cleanest of parks. It just literally takes me seconds to get from my bedroom out on the lawn and then down here to the lake if I want to take a morning or evening swim. You know, it's not something that I missed when I was living in Taiwan, but now being back here, I just realized how incredibly lucky I was growing up here and how much I will actually miss this going back home to Taiwan again. Next up, it's just the general convenience, which I have to admit, it took me some time to get used to. I feel like you do need a couple of weeks to get into the Swedish system with all the different apps and just having to do literally everything yourself on your phone. But once you're in that system and you have your Swedish mindset where you absolutely do not want to talk to anyone unnecessarily, it is quite nice to know that you can literally do everything you want just from your phone anywhere you are, assuming you have 4G internet somewhere. Whereas in Taiwan, and this is just because a combination of things. First of all, I'm not like 100% fluent in Chinese if I'm gonna go into the bank, for example, and I'm also not a Taiwanese national. And that's also another barrier I've had countless of times, because sometimes it's not as easy as to just ask your Taiwanese friends, because the rules are different from a Taiwanese national and a foreigner with just a normal ARC like myself. So you just have to experience everything by yourself the first time and then spend a lot of time in the bank, or just have no clue what is going on and just trust the people on the other side of the counter, which of course I do, but it's just nice to be in a country where you feel like home, where you feel like the entire system, the entire process, it's just set up for you and you're not a visitor in this country. I love Taiwan, I love living in Taiwan, and I do love the fact that I still consider myself being on a 10-year-long vacation when I am in Taiwan. But coming back home after being on a vacation, it feels different. It really does. Next. Whew. I don't know why I always start crying these days. I totally forgot what I was gonna say now. Oh yeah. No, it's gonna be so weird. Okay, I didn't expect this to be that emotional, but next thing I was gonna mention was coffee subscriptions. So, okay, hear me out. You know that I love coffee, and Swedes do love coffee as well, and they actually have something called a coffee subscription. Basically, you just pay the equivalent of 10 coffees per month, and you can drink unlimited number of coffees of that different tier. And most of the time, after you read the fine print, the offer isn't really that good. There's always a little catch. Of course, there is a catch in this offer as well, and that is that you can only take out one coffee every 2 hours. But other than that, you can take out as many coffees as you want for an entire month for the same price of 10 cups. Yeah, I don't want to make too much fun of this, but you know, I would actually consider moving back home to Sweden only because a coffee subscription like that. So please, Louisa Coffee, Starbucks in Taiwan, or any other coffee chain, please do make this happen. I guarantee you that you have a customer for life. Next reason, and maybe the most risky one to mention for an audience who consists of mainly Taiwanese people, but that is the food and the food culture. And it takes some time to get used to as a Swede. I'm still waiting after 11 years living in Taiwan. But if I'm here in Sweden, you know, I can just go into a restaurant and I have the entire menu, and it's like I understand everything that's on the menu. I like everything that's on the menu. There are like some things I don't maybe feel like every single day, but it's like, it's always things that I grew up with, it's things that I know. And for example, in a grocery store, it's like the entire grocery store is just designed to tailor to my needs. I'm like the most typical Swede. So, you know, you go into a grocery store, we literally have an entire aisle of just sparkling water, which is something that I drink like literally liters every single day. And then of course we also have another aisle with coffee, which I also drink liters every single day. And then of course an entire department, or sometimes even an entire store, just dedicated to candy. And yeah, if you know me, you know that I love candy. So it's just, again, it's just so convenient, it's just so easy, and it's just, I'm just such a mainstream Swede, so it's almost sad. But for some reason, 11 years ago, I made a decision to leave that, to try other cultures, to look around and discover the world. But yeah, coming back home and rediscover the candy aisle and the candy stores, it's also quite a great adventure actually being back here. Next up on the list is something that is very personal to me specifically, and that is just the way of transportation, specifically the personal electronic vehicles, the PEVs, the kick bikes and the one wheels that I have talked about in a previous video regarding transportation here in Sweden versus Taiwan. And I just think it's such a genius way of transportation, and I honestly believe that is the transportation of the future. And just seeing how this is just integrated in the overall city traffic. It completely replaces cars and buses in a lot of different areas in the cities. But I do believe that it could be actually great for Taipei and also Taiwan in the future. And last but not least, but actually the biggest surprise for me personally coming back home here to Sweden is just the overall interest I have in just Swedish culture all of a sudden. Both pop culture like music, movies and other kinds of entertainment, but also a little bit older culture and history in a way that I've never had before. I don't know if it's just because I've been away from Sweden for so long, or if it's because I'm just getting older and I have more history behind me already. As an example, I haven't been back home in Sweden for 3 years, which is way before the COVID pandemic. And now when I'm back home here in Sweden, we pretty much don't have COVID anymore. There's absolutely zero restrictions. Now everyone is like talking about COVID as like a era of time that has already finished. I just feel like I have missed that part of the Swedish history, the Swedish culture. So like, I don't know, it doesn't make any sense to me when I'm saying this to you, but I feel like it's such a shame that I've missed that part of Swedish culture 30 years from now. I don't know if it makes sense, but I just feel like I want to stay up to date on everything that happens in Sweden, because it is my native culture. If that makes sense. Turn on the TV and there's like all kinds of artists, all kinds of TV shows, all kinds of movies and movie stars. I have no clue who they are, and I feel like a stranger in my own country, because although I didn't really watch TV that much, you would know your main TV stars. For example, I know like Jolene Tsai and the other guy. So yeah, that actually surprised me a lot that I missed that. If that makes sense. It's more like I'm sad for the future that I have missed it, than I feel like I need to know who that person is, that makes any sense. I think it's actually time for me to end this video now, because tomorrow at 6 a.m. I will actually take the car, who will take me to the bus station, who will take me to the airport, who will take me to Dubai, who will take me back home to Taipei again, because yes, of course I will be coming back very, very soon, and if my YouTube schedule allows it, then the next video you will see here on the channel is me coming back home to Taipei. And although these 5 weeks here in Sweden have made me realize how incredibly much I love Sweden, how much I love the Swedish culture, how much I love my life here in Sweden, I also love my life in Taiwan, and I will actually try to put in a little bit more effort just trying to get to know the culture and particularly the food in Taiwan a little bit more. And when I'm back home in Taiwan again, I will of course continue making more videos about Taiwan and you, the amazing Taiwanese people. And if that is something that you want to see, please do remember to subscribe to this channel and also like this video to show your support. As always, thank you all so much for watching. My name is Lukas, starts with L as in like, ends with S as in subscribe. Please do both, and see you all in Taiwan.